What's up everyone, Jason Brown here, the king of programming, back for another program review in the Playbook app. The last couple of reviews were pretty rough, as you guys probably saw. And my last two reviews, I reviewed two programs that were focused more on aesthetics, hypertrophy, and yeah, check those ones out if you haven't seen them yet. Today, we are going over a 4-day split by Jah'son. I guess if I'm saying that wrong, I probably am, but I think it's Jah'son, like my name, but spelled a little bit different, Patterson. And he's a personal trainer, first form athlete. And this program is the 4-day split. We're gonna start right now. All right, guys, in a moment, I'm gonna reveal a strategy with this program that you're gonna wanna hang around and see, because this program completely negates this strategy. So this program as a whole, we've got a 4-day split, which I like. I think that a 4-day split is a good split for a lot of people. I also think that the longer and longer I'm in this game, I tend to see that having options for 2-day week, 3-day week, I actually in the past have never written 2-day week programs. I always thought that, well, people that are training 2 days a week, you know, they really need to think about training more, right? But as I've gotten older, I've seen that you can make phenomenal progress by training less. And again, one of the things that I think as human beings, we need to evolve, like what we did in our 20s, probably not gonna be the same thing we do in our 30s, 40s, 50s, and so on. So I already like that it's just a 4-day split. I think that gives people some room and it allows people to adhere to a schedule that might be more sustainable. This particular schedule is lower, upper push, lower, upper pull. Okay, so I'm gonna assume a few things by that, but we're gonna get into it and see what's there. So our first lower day says 45 minutes. I like. And overall, just like my first view of this, my first glance, I'm looking forward to this. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that this is gonna be a good one. And for you guys to know, when I do these reviews, I'm not hoping they're gonna be terrible. I hope they're gonna be good. I want our industry to elevate. There are plenty of people in this world. I don't need this guy's clients. He doesn't need my clients, so on and so forth. There are plenty of people in this world that might be a better fit for him, and there are plenty of people in this world that might be a better fit for me. But I want people to stay away from stuff that is completely ridiculous and going to take them further away and get them hurt. That doesn't help anyone in this industry. It does not elevate our industry. There are lots of things I do that are here to elevate this industry. I go out and speak to coaches every year at a ton of different events, and I don't do that because I love doing it. I do it because I want to elevate this industry and get people to a level where they can put out great programs, get people results, and not kill their clients. So, just get that out of the way. When I look at these programs, I look at fundamentals, exercise order, exercise selection, sets, reps, and rest rules, and conditioning. I also look at the structure. I think a framework is very important. I'm a big believer that having a template, knowing where to plug things in, helps keep things balanced. It allows us to stay away from things like central fatigue. And it also allows us to ensure people are getting what they need to get better. All right, guys, so let's get into this first day. We've got back squat, Nordic hamstring curl, a superset of goblet squat and single leg deadlift, superset of leg extension, leg curl, and seated calf raise. This is a good day, all right? I don't know what the fundamentals are yet, but the exercise order is good. I like that he's got back squat first. He's got 90 seconds rest, so I would go longer on the rest, and that's my nitpick. I would probably go with 2 minutes, depending on where you're going. That last set, I might rest 3 minutes before I do that set of 8. I like it. Nordic hamstring curls. I think depending on who you are, and I'm assuming this is not gonna be a Nordic hamstring curl where you lower and raise on your own, so he's pushing himself off it. Okay, so I think that for the hamstrings, I would tend to go lower on the rep scheme. I would go to 6 to 8 reps per set, and I would go probably with 3 sets and 90 seconds rest. So I would go a little bit longer, and I think that overall the exercise order so far is good. And I actually love going from a squat pattern to something like a glute ham raise. Not really combination, but it's a nice order of exercise where potentially we have some synergy there between those movement patterns just biomechanically. But I like this so far. I think the superset, I am not a huge fan of doing supersets on lower body days, because I think that when you do something like a squat or a single leg pattern, you do have contribution of posterior chain. It's not completely quadriceps driven. So, again, can it be done? Yes, I think the way he's doing it is fine. Again, reps are probably a little bit high for me. I would go 3 sets, 30 reps for the single leg RDL. It's 15 each leg, I think is okay. But again, I would probably adjust these rep schemes. So overall, I like the seated calf raise for high repetitions, believe it or not. I think 4 sets of 20, so 80 total reps. The soleus is predominantly slow twitch muscle fiber. Seated calf raise isn't my favorite for building the calves, and I'm actually one of those people that I don't do any direct calf work. I hate doing direct calf work. The calf work I do is pulling, pushing a sled. Again, probably not what you're thinking in terms of building big calves, but luckily, I genetically have good calves and I don't have to spend a lot of time on them, which probably doesn't help those of you that are trying to build your calves. But needless to say, I think that overall this day is pretty solid. Now, my nitpick is the rest intervals need to be tuned up. The rep schemes need to be tuned up. I think there are some things here that he's doing well, but I think there are some things that we can do better with this program. So the strategy for this program would be fine-tuning these schemes a little bit more. And again, something like a Nordic leg curl relies obviously on the hamstrings group. So going with lower repetitions and a little bit longer rest would definitely be something that would be appropriate for that movement pattern. So let's move on. So far, this is good that we're seeing something that's better because those last two programs were, yeah. So moving on, we've got a push-up where we are doing essentially burnout. So 10 sets, 10 down to 1, so 55 total reps. And then going into our barbell bench, decline. So I think overall, the order of this day is okay. The push-up I would put at the end of this day. It's more, he's using it more of a burnout style, if you will. 55 total reps for push-up is a fair amount for most people. Now, if you're a push-up ninja, you probably get through that no problem, but doing a heavy barbell bench thereafter, there is going to be some impact that the 55 push-ups that you just did have on your barbell bench, especially for sets of 12. And the rest interval is too low. The order of the day is pretty decent though. Wow, 2 minutes rest. It's the first time I've seen 2 minutes rest in the Playbook app in a while. So that's nice to see. I think, again, the question I always have is 4 sets of 12. Can we get it done with 3 sets? Can we get it done with 2 sets where we go closer to failure? Those are questions to ask. And again, if you're just going through the motions, then I would really encourage you guys to maybe do less sets, but go closer to failure and just kind of feel that out. See how that goes when you're doing something like this that has 4 sets or 5 sets. So overall, not great, but not terrible. All right, so day 3 is a lower body day. And on this day, we have a broad jump forward and jog back. So this is kind of a primer style plyometric. I think it's 10 reps total. Overall, I don't see any restful, so you're jogging back. So if I was gonna do a primer with a plyometric, I would just do whatever, 2 or 3 jumps and then rest 60 seconds. And I would do that for 3 or 4 sets. Okay, and again, I'm nitpicking now. And then we've got a superset of skaters. So I believe this is a single leg skater squat. No, this is more of a body weight style day, which I think is okay because we did some heavy lower body work on the first day of this program. So I actually like the diversity of this day versus the first day of this program. I think that it is more circuit based, 75 seconds rest, 90 seconds rest. So you are seeing some differences in rest intervals and rep schemes, which is good, which if you remember from one of my reviews, that wasn't the case. So overall, I don't mind this program in conjunction with what we've done. Is it something I would do? No, but again, I'm not here to tell you exactly what I would do. I'm here to assess whether or not this is a decent program. And I think that for someone that trains 4 days a week, where you do a day that's more interval based and you do a day that's heavier barbell work, that is certainly a direction you could go. So let's look at the final day of the week. This is an upper pull. He's got a barbell deadlift, 2 minutes rest. Yes, probably could go, especially if you're doing 4 sets and you're building to something heavy. This last set is 8 reps. I might go a little bit longer. And then he's got 4 sets of failure chin-ups. Again, can you do 3 sets to failure? How much degradation is there gonna be from third set to 4th set? If you're getting, let's say 10, 9, 8, 3, 3, then I would probably do 3 sets to failure where you rest 2 minutes instead of 90 seconds. And again, the overall is probably gonna be about the same, right? If you rest a little bit longer and you accumulate the same volume in 3 sets, again, a question to ask, okay? And then we've got a superset of pull down and cable row. Again, I don't like the same musculature being worked in a superset unless there is a goal specific to bringing up a lagging muscle group, which there could be here, and I'm assuming that there might be. So I'll just say that this is okay. Again, 4 sets, renegade row, and then we've got some curls. So let's kind of recap what we've got here. If you are someone that is serious about training and you're looking for peak results year round without having to sacrifice your body, download my free 3-week programming sample. The link is in the comments. Overall, I tend to see that coaches are averse to doing less than 4 sets. I see this all the time with especially coaches that are newer. They think you've got to impress the client, you've got to do at least 4 sets. I have programs that have 3 sets all over the place. And to be honest, over the years, I might have been higher, I might have been 4 sets, and over time I might say, well, again, we can get it done with 3 if we're closer to failure. So these are questions to ask. If you are a coach or you're just someone that's training, ask yourself that question every time you're training. How many sets do you need to be like staying close to failure, but also being able to repeat that output somewhat? Now, there obviously is going to be degradation from set 1 to set 3, but if we're doing 3 sets of 8 to 10 and we're hitting 8 to 10 for all those sets and we're using a heavy load and we know that we're being true with reps in reserve, then you're in a good place. Typically, I don't find that people need a ton of sets. I've actually seen some programs as of recently that have far less sets. I've seen some programs, I was actually surprised that had 2 sets. Now, you probably know that there are plenty of advocates for doing 1 set completely all out. And I think that's a great approach. But it relies on a lot of things. And I think that the person doing that has to be very much self-aware of their own ability and what that feels like. If you're a newbie, you're probably not aware of that yet, just by virtue of not having a lot of time in the trenches training. So those are things to consider. Now, pros of this program. There's a structure across the week. It's 4 days. Some of the exercise order is pretty good. I like the overall of this program. On the other end, the cons, I think that we could dial in some of the volume. I think we could diversify some of the volume. We could be a little bit more descriptive with prescription for things like a Nordic hamstring curl. I'd even like to see some heavier work with the squat. I'd like to see a 5x5. We're building to a heavy 5 for that last set. I think that stuff could be something that would work well in this program. However, I don't know his avatar. So, for me to say that, I'm assuming that I know that he's training advanced people. Maybe he's not. So I think overall there's some solid things here. But the cons are, I would like to tune up the rest intervals. I would like to tune up the rep schemes. I would reduce the volume. And I think that, overall, I would like to see some conditioning, but it's a 4-day-a-week program. So you have to ask the question, where would that potentially go? Maybe there's an optional day, maybe there's not. But overall, I would say that this program is doing some things well. It does have a foundation of something good. If you're using this program, I would probably reduce the volume a little bit. And again, ask that question to yourself, are you being true to reps in reserve? So this is an approved program. And until next time, results are king.